diving into map number 1, Complexity versus LG. LG have had a dire first 2 weeks. They need to turn it around, and honestly, this is the time to do it for Complexity. On the flip side, I mean, we had big question marks over them, and now all of a sudden they've started to string together a couple of results, Revan. They're looking good.
Yeah, and I just looked at my tables, and Luminosity's 0-2 on this map and game mode. So I think this is a great opportunity for Complexity to jump out to maybe a 2-0 series lead. I do think this is one that's going to go the distance. Luminosity obviously have a lot of heart. They're not going to give up without a fight, but the opportunity is there for Complexity. Anyways, into the action here. It's Luminosity set up inside the Hardpoint, but the member we were just talking about, Blast, he's on your screen now, getting some cover fire from Ricky. Breaks on in, but he gets traded out by Formal.
Already you can see Censor thinking about those new spawns. Blast spawns in. 2 players from LG, though, still looking to contest, and Censor makes the heads-up play. Obviously, something we mentioned, I think it was yesterday when we were casting over the Complexity game, and sometimes you see Censor get a little bit of tunnel vision, right?
On this map,
just kind of goes straight for where he thinks he needs to be. Whereas here you see him find at least 1 kill on rotation. He will be traded out there by Formal, but Formal, the only LG player on this side of the map.
Yeah, and speaking of Censor, we had a chance to talk to him a little bit before he started scrimming in preparation for this. He was saying, you know, his KD's been like doubling after every series since day one, continuing to improve, and that's just something you love to see. But Ricky, he's also a member that we haven't given a lot of love on this Complexity squad for quite some time. He's heating up. He has a great start to this match. Has yet to die. 7 kills in a row. Already fully streaked out. This is the start you want for Complexity.
Oh, this is perfect. Ricky at 7-0, like you said, full streaks. Is he going to invest anything? Yeah, I'm considering maybe, yeah, I mean, you have LG spawning out now, so I guess you either just collapse or you use a streak. For Complexity, looks like they're going to try and do it the old-fashioned way. Ricky now late to the party. He's not going to be able to find anything else, and LG can have a big old sigh of relief there, as it looks as if now Complexity's main focus is going to be on the rotation. And
since it's so early on in the game, Luminosity definitely know that those streaks are in play, so look for this rotation. Hopefully it's won by Complexity. They won't have to invest it, but you could always use something like an artillery barrage. Is always so impactful on the parking lot hardpoint. But Luminosity, they're pushing down the field side of the map. This is exactly what you want to do to play for spawns for this upcoming hardpoint. They're going to be met by Blastful here. Blast does find one, has to stay alive. Important that he does.
And it's important to note this first wave of kills from Complexity are huge, because to your point, you don't want to have to invest a streak. You want to be able to do it just with gun skill to really rack up a little bit of time here on parking lot. And bear in mind, Slack playing a little cautious because he's close to some streaks of his own, and he may just get fantastic timing. Shuts down one, and his just mere being here may have an influence on the next one that comes through, but no.
Is no one calling out that Slack is here?
Doesn't look that way, does it? You look at the mini-map and no one really reacted to it. Cap's going to try and push through. He finds 2, but Complexity with a great response. And Ricky still alive in the hill and getting kind of close to maybe considering using that glide bomb. You don't want him to overlap those streaks, of course, but in fact, he falls with a nade in the hill.
Okay, so everything works out for Complexity. In the end, they get a good chunk of time here on parking lot. You still have the streaks available for Ricky. Things starting to stabilize here in the game. Censor pushing out lanes. Melts Formal right there. Just holding down the archway as his teammates can then progress on forward and lock down positioning for the new hardpoint as the lookout tower is about to pop up.
Obviously, you know, we mentioned Censor in terms of his KD, in terms of his stats. It's worth mentioning, you take away the Mind Freak series, something that he was saying earlier on, and he's basically even. You know, it was just that Mind Freak series. He had a really poor series, and it just couldn't get things going. But the one thing I will say is, how many times have we seen Censor get close to streaks, just like that, 1 kill, maybe 2 kills away, just not connect with them? It's something that I think, after this week, when he comes back, you know, week 3, week 4, even Anaheim, I think if he slows down when he gets on those big streaks and just secures the streaks himself, it's going to make Complexity's life so much easier.
Yeah, I think that's the key point, just being able to slow down those situations. You take a look at the type of role that he plays to the team, like, it's just non-stop aggression, putting on pressure and doing some of the dirty work around the map. And I will say one area where, you know, Censor's like KD does take a hit is when it comes down to the search and destroys. He's got a .63, Blast is not too far behind him at a .7, but when you have players like Ricky and Dashy, like, you can afford to slack a little bit.
Just a tad. Obviously not too much, but as the first rotation of hills come to a conclusion, despite Complexity getting full streaks and honestly being kind of the team that led for the most part, it's only a 95 to 83 point game. And honestly, if Formal can maybe find a couple of kills crossing here, he can start thinking about playing towards that first glide bomb. There's going to be 3 players there. He gets a little bit of support there from Slack as well. Formal doing a good job just watching that cross. Bear in mind, he has a teammate in the hill as well.
Yeah, he's just not moving. Just laser focused on that cross. Not going to spot any further Complexity players as Luminosity break back in to the red hard point. And now they are starting to rebuild the lead that they once had at the beginning of the game. Censor, though,
look,
got something to say about it.
So close to streaks. So close to streaks. You don't need to challenge that. There's 24 seconds left on the hill. You have a teammate. Let your teammate bait for you to get that first streak.
Yeah, I agree with you there on that one, Benson. Definitely another situation where Sensor could have slowed down.
And it's crazy because
a bit more mindful.
How many times has this happened in a game of Hardpoint? I feel like he goes on these big streaks 2, 3 times, and now look what happens. On the flip side, Slack's going to get some streaks, and that could well influence this second rotation of hills.
Interesting choice using the Mortar Strike over the Artillery Barrage for this specific map. I know sometimes that, when you call in that Artillery Barrage, you just break on in right after and it winds up hurting you sometimes. So at least the Mortar Strike, it's an instant usage. You could use it, ping some power positions on the map, but here come Complexity. They find 3 kills, and now there's some streaks starting to get used. The Glide Bomb in response by Slack. It's going to isolate Blast over to the Archer side of the map. JCap now around L. He's going to find Dashy. Gets the second on the Sensor as well. Only Ricky trying to maintain this position inside the hardpoint. He falls shortly after. So Luminosity hold on to their position, and once again, they are rebuilding this lead.
And this game, which seemed like it was well in Complexity's control, is all of a sudden just spiraled out of control for them. LG still have a couple of streaks to play with. They have current control of the hill as well. And you can see Complexity spawning out over towards parking lot with 15 seconds left. They're just going to have to hold that L, rotate, and try and find these kills on rotation. The problem they have is they don't realize JCap is already behind enemy lines. He could really be a thorn in their side.
Yeah, absolutely. These are going to be some impactful kills for JCap to get as he takes down Blasphole. Now it's safety for his teammates to push on forward. They're even going to use the fighter pilot here from Slacked. He's able to find one, takes down Dashy, but that's going to be it.
And he knows the spawn as well for Complexity, so this is the perfect situation coming in from LG against Slack. Still has some mortars to use. Might not even necessarily see him use them here, despite, you could probably just throw him on that B site. Buy yourself a little bit of extra time.
Yeah, you could save it for the upcoming lookout tower if you don't win the rotation and you're looking to fight for a position. And now it's going to be Complexity. Ricky forced to use that Artillery Barrage. We'll take out Formal as they're trying to fight on forward. And I will say, I do like that Slack. He earns the streaks and then he uses them, right? He doesn't wait for that maybe opportune moment, the perfect moment to arise. He goes, okay, guys, let's play around the fighter pilot. Let's play around the Glide Bomb. Uses it, and Ricky, I think he still has his own pilot to use.
Well, he may have to.
Oh, no, he's got nothing left. Sorry, Ricky.
Unfortunate for him. 10 seconds left in parking lot. Going to go LG's way. And LG now have managed to gain themselves around about an 80-point lead in what was a very, very close game after the first rotation. Complexity just running out of steam a little bit. And a big part of that blast, 9 and 21. Not a performance you can really afford to have against a team like LG. Even a out of form LG, you can't have a performance like that. They will still find a way to punish you.
No, absolutely. Essentially 3v4 on the map right now as Blast continues to struggle. But here's the opportunity for Complexity to come rowing back in the game. You got a clean 4 down. Now you want to establish your ideal setup. Ricky's going to extend on forward. You also have Blasphole pushing out over near the Archer side of the map. You have the areas covered. Now you're looking for this second wave of kills, and then you could safely milk the rest of the scrap time and then focus on the next set of rotations as we're about to move back to red. But just like that, everybody dies with Complexity.
It's
Luminosity break right on in.
It's the second wave of kills. That's where they've struggled all game. They do well at breaking. They do well at maybe holding the first wave. But the second wave, when things maybe get a little chaotic and maybe a little bit of uncertainty of where the spawns are coming through, that's when Complexity really do falter.
Okay, absolutely. And now red about to pop up. You see Complexity in a situation where they have early positioning right. Let's see if they could, establish their setup and get these waves of kills, as Luminosity just need one more point to tick, and they'll be at that 200-point mark. Complexity are still well in this game, right? Obviously only one full hard point out of it. If Blasphole could maybe get a good sequence of events here, get streaked out, but of course, as soon as we're saying that, kills starting to come in for Luminosity. They find 3. Last one inside the hardpoint is going to be Blasphole. This is the moment right here. He has to stay alive. If he can find these key kills inside the hill, there's one. Takes down JCap. Coming around the back. Good anticipation. Finds another one on the staircase. Beat him down. Oh, no. Slack was a little bit quicker.
Dashi instantly reacts to that one. Sensor's going to be the one that challenges and gets the kill. So far, about 50% through the restaurant hill, and it's all been Complexity Gaming. The key is control the spawns. Do not let this happen. Formal's going to rotate super early. He went on that big rotation. We've seen him in the exact same position in the second rotation. This time, Complexity well aware. That final 15 seconds, even if it's contested, that's fine. Just keep control of this spawn, and you can bring yourself back into this game.
Almost a similar situation to what JCap was doing a bit earlier in the game. Luminosity on top of their rotations, but Complexity, now they bring the game to within 15 points. They have early positioning for the upcoming wine hard point. They have spawns in their favor. This is everything you want if you're Complexity.
And I love that from Sensor. Just run away. You don't need to take that challenge. Watch this green tower overextension, but maybe getting a little too aggressive here. Goes back for the challenge. Wants to shut down Slacked. Unfortunately for him, Formal was there to assist. He's still going to spawn in, but now the kills are important. Complexity need to slay out LG. Blast not going to connect, and I think Blast may actually fall there. No, he did find the kill on John, but Formal pushes straight through. He gets himself a glide bomb. Complexity could be in some trouble.
Feels like just 5 seconds ago, we were talking about how Complexity were struggling with that second wave of kills, and here's yet another example of that. You failed to get that second wave, and now more streaks to the other team. Formal now has the artillery barrage, and when we talk about the rotation to this next hardpoint that we will see, the artillery barrage is perfect to deny time to the other team or influence spawns.
And once again, LG have a player early to rotate over towards parking lot. Last time it was JCat, this time it's Slacked, and Dashy has to expect Slack to be somewhere there. He's just picked up a kill. You're going to see the streaks come through. Slacked is still picking off Complexity one by one. That is a phenomenal rotation from LG. I mean, that's flawless stuff. Well, you just artillery barrage your teammate.
Good.
Don't worry, Slack. You're good. Phenomenal game one from Luminosity Gaming.
Yeah, absolutely. And we were a bit worried coming to this one. They were winless on this map, and Complexity were undefeated. But now those stats not meaning much, as it was a strong start for Complexity, especially that man here for the Bronze Star. Ricky gets streaked out super early on, 7-0 start, but nothing comes of it.
And it's worth obviously giving credit to Formal towards the end there, picking up those streaks, breaks into the hill, straight through the front, finds 2 kills, gets another 2 as well, fully streaked out, uses the streaks to perfection. Slacked as well with a very big rotation. And I think credit as well to JCap. Both of those 2 players had to
stealing all my points.
Really rotate to parking lot a little early, and there was just no one from Complexity that could deal with it.
Great analysis, Benson. I was about to say the exact same things. Really comes down to Slacked. He kickstarts everything once he gets those streaks, and then he uses them almost immediately as soon as he earns them, and then just Luminosity being on top of those rotations and being ahead of the game. Complexity, I mean, they were there. They had early positioning, but that one player behind enemy lines, he finds a kill, opens up a lane. His teammates can now push on through, and it's a team push, for the back spawns.
And it's so tough because you see Complexity breaking hills, great. Holding for the first wave, great. But again, that second wave, we talked about it, mid-game. How do you get better at that, though? That's the question. You're a former player yourself.
It's corner camp.
Is it as simple as that?
You have the setup. Like, there's no reason to really roam and be adventurous on the map. Like, you get that first wave of kills, and then that's when you establish your setup. Like, you can look at the mini-map, and then you can deduce where the spawns are going to be coming in. Just find a nice corner to sit in. Be annoying. I mean, that's like how I played. I mean, my gun
frustrating to play against.
My gun skill wasn't the greatest. I mean, let's be honest here. So I was like, I'm gonna shoot you in the back, I'm gonna shoot you in the side, and I'm gonna just try to frustrate you in game.
Make it as easy as possible on yourself. That's definitely the key. But LG 1-0 up, and we know before the series started, Jess caught up with Slacked. Let's hear what he had to say.
Thanks, Ben. Well, Slacked seems pretty confident. His exact words were, "We remain confident as always." He did say, however, that out of the 3 game modes, Hardpoint was their most confident. He felt that they had improved more on that game mode than they had on S&D or CTF. And indeed, we can see that is definitely the case. They did take that first Hardpoint, so let's see if they can keep it up for the rest of the series. Ben, back over to you.
Thank you very much, Jess. Great to hear, of course, LG improving in Hardpoint. That was the big question mark that they had coming here to the CWL. And they have improved on it, and we've seen that. But now we get to the other game modes that we're going to see in a best of 5. Obviously, the Search and Destroy, which is going to be London Docks, and the CTF Flak Tower. I think Game 2, imperative for Complexity to take this and just get a little bit of momentum back in the series.
Yeah, we labeled this as a must-win series for Luminosity, and that's the strong start you needed. Now let's see if they could recuperate. London Docks has been a pretty straightforward map for Luminosity in the past, right? You have that constant smoke over at the H3, and there's not like a whole lot of funny business that could happen on this map. For the most part, it's pretty straight up. But you think back to what happened yesterday with Complexity's matches, right? That round 11, they must have a lot of confidence on this map, and getting just more experience as well always helps.
Obviously, John's versatility as well on London Docks. Loves to snipe down lower dock side.
So does Dashy.
Rush straight down through the middle. Yeah, you have a good sniper fight. And that's what excites me about if we do have a potential Game 5. USS Texas, because for me, you have John and Formal on the team. I would love to see LG maybe run a double snipe for a round or 2. Just really
John and Formal versus Dashy and Blast, that'd be sick.
I'll take that every day of the week. I mean, what a USS Texas that would be. But it's a map which I remember when Sensor finished his vetoes, we were sat with him, and he was like, they're really going to give us Texas? They're really feeling that confident against us? So I would love to see that Game 5. But, of course, before we get there, we have to go through Game 2. London Docks, Search and Destroy.
And look, there's a chance we don't even see that Game 5. Luminosity would love to close this one out early, and just like you were saying, this is the game mode where Luminosity struggles in the most. Coming into this, they are 2-7 in their Search and Destroys. Ooh. Obviously, a lot to work on, but room for improvement here. As we're kicking things off, it's going to be a 2v2.
I mean, obviously, you mentioned the huge clutch Complexity had. Let's not forget about the massive blunder LG had on this map as well. Over towards that B site, of course, it was like a 3v1. Shawnee clutches it, so I'm sure they're still having flashbacks about that. Hopefully, it doesn't go the distance. As it stands in this round, though, Dashy left in a 1v2.
That's the bomb, Slacked.
Loves his 1v2s. Can he clutch it as he makes it a 1v1?
Okay, those are key shots for Formal to hit. That's going to back Dashy up and allows Formal to retake control of the objective. And keep in mind, we were highlighting how Dashy and Clay like to play in these 1v1s, keeping their backs like towards the outskirts of the map so that he can't get flanked to shot by off angles.
I love this position from Dashy. You're watching the entire A site cross. It's a position which few players do use, and Formal may check it. Not going to happen. Dashy clutches up in round number 1.
Another characteristic of players that come up in the search and destroy scene is playing for information, not necessarily for the kill. In this situation, obviously he does get the kill, but his main thing is just, I want to see that A cross, and then if Formal does wind up planning B, he's got an easy route. He just climbs up from crane side, keeps his back to the map, clears out the lane, and pushes forward. It's a clear game plan from Dashy, well played and well planned out.
Nice first round for Complexity, and of course now they will go onto the attacking side. What are we going to get? We've seen a very different variation. Dashy does have that sniper. You mentioned he loves watching that lower cross. That's going to be the first victim, and nothing but a hit marker that spots Formal.
He's going to challenge this. You know, he challenges everything. Boom, and he hits that shot. The trade does come in, and because you have that immediate shot, it's going to be John now, barreling right down through the middle of the map, finds the timing onto Ricky. Last going to try to turn. He gets taken down as well, and John's just the playmaker for LG.
And you just can't let John do that. You just can't. If you don't respect his presence mid-map, he's going to run straight through every single time. He has a ton of different variations of things he loves to do on London Docks, and when he starts getting in that flow, that's when he gets scary. Good trade, of course, from Formal with the nade to actually kill Dashy there, but overall, just a great response as well from LG, tied 1-1.
Yeah, absolutely. Complexity wanted to get aggressive over towards that A site because they knew Slacked was tagged up from that sniper rifle shot from Dashy. And, you know, from what we could take away from Cole versus E United last night is Dashy has that timing on point. We saw Pristini, he's the defender for E United over at the A site. He had to delay like his presence over towards A just to avoid that sniper shot.
Yeah. It's actually really nice to see Pristini just taking like a stutter step if nothing else. Like, he's going to get first blood in this round. Can LG now use that to try and get the bomb down over towards the A site? Cap's been tagged up from mid-map. Bomb, of course, is inside the A site now. Just 2 players from Complexity left as Ricky falls. Sensor and Dashy have to go big.
Yeah, Luminosity now in a competitive position in this round. The trade comes in. You got the man advantage, exactly what you want to do. But this man, always dangerous on the map. He's tagged up, so they commit to the fight. So Luminosity with a strong start to this search and destroy. And look, I'm going to call him out here. Blast is continuing to struggle in his search and destroy. He's like, you get picked up by this Complexity lineup probably mainly because you're a search and destroy expert. You have to be having an impact on these games.
Yeah, and what was it you mentioned his stats were coming in?
0.7.
0.7 in search, not what you want to see if you're a Complexity fan. And you'd love to see him kind of turn things around here.
Especially because I just did a TCL highlight play on one of his clutches.
Yeah, 1v3. Now, though, you look at the stats, he is 1-3. Ricky, of course, still looking for his first kill at 0-3. Sensor, 1-3. Really, Dashy, the only player that's had an impact in the first 3 rounds. Speaking of Dashy, sniper rifle out. Cap, you're going to want to be careful here. Stone connects. And you see just 2 players from LG challenge at the same time, guaranteeing they get that kill on Dashy. The nades come through. LG, they're just out stratting Complexity right now.
Yeah, they're just picking them apart, and I think we could give credit to Spacey for that. You saw him in the back watching a lot of VOD. He definitely studied up. You got a lot of rounds to watch for Complexity from last night's game, and Complexity are also running a lot of greedy classes here, so the stuns that are being tossed out are having a big impact in slowing Complexity down.
Most definitely are. Ricky and Sensor, 2v3. Of course, they do have bomb in hand. Left to try and get it down over towards B, but here comes Luminosity. Their wolf pack defense and Complexity, they're looking the complete wrong way. Cap's gonna have the first engagement. Ricky wins it. Is the trade's gonna come through? Sensor makes it a 1v1, tries to pre-fire. It's gonna be Slacked. Has he bought enough time for his health to regen? Ring around the rosy. Slacked is confused. So is Sensor, and Sensor's gonna clutch up big for Complexity Gaming. A nice play, and good composure from him as well.
And you know, we were just talking about Sensor and his aggression that he brings to the table. This is obviously a situation where it works out for him. That dive that he makes to get cover behind that crate is what wins him this 1v1. Buys himself time, as you said, to regenerate just that little bit of health, and then Slacked ran out of ammo. All he had was a machine pistol left in his pocket, not enough to take down Doug Sensor Martin.
Now, heading into round 5, of course, LG on the attack. Is it going to be a B push? Looks that way. Sensor should be able to sniff that out, and that's just good play from Ricky. Formal, John, you see Formal basically replacing what Octane used to do here with LG, so the strat's definitely the same here in Search. It's very much a formal just do exactly what Octane used to do and we should be fine. This round, not the case.
Yeah, now we're starting to see Complexity. They're swapping off of those mountain classes. You like to see that, putting Armored on. Going to be protected from all those grenades thrown your way, and Sensor's feeling the heat. He's going to back on up. 100% the right play to make in this situation. You have the man advantage. Go closer to your teammates, establish a crossfire, and try to work a trade on one of these LG players.
And it's so key that Sensor stays in fire here just to make sure that he gets the information because he has teammates watching across. So they basically at this point have LG completely pinned in the back of the map. They have him where they want him. They collapse. Good team fire comes through. Really smart play from Sensor. Yeah, I think
absolutely.
You called it. He backs away at the right time. He recognizes the pressure is coming through, puts himself in fire, watches the cross. All the information they could possibly need was given there.
And you know, LG bit the bait. They probably see Sensor's name pop up. They're like, yo, this is going to be an easy kill. Let's go take out Doug. But he lures them into a trap. And if you're LG, I think as soon as you push out towards useless, like, you're not getting that kill on the Sensor anymore. Why not just back up and plant the bomb?
Right. Really, the only thing they could do is Complexity take the lead here in the Search and Destroy. 3 rounds to 2. Of course, if you're just tuning in, LG took map 1. Complexity looking to tie things up here as we stand forward with Dashi. No snipe for him in this round. Instead, pulls out the AR. Wants to try and take the fight straight to Formal. Formal just down. Dashi through the smoke. Can he find the second? Luckily, Sensor there for the trade.
Okay, now the A-bomb site controlled by Complexity, even though they don't have the man advantage. Look at the long flank. That's going to be JCap. He's quite removed from the situation. So for the time being, it's a 2v2. Nice shots from John. Make it a 1v3 now as Sensor. Yeah, you don't want to plant the bomb here because you're just going to feed score. Does spot the gun barrel. He's just going to peek out. Does get spotted. Trying to use the cover. He knows John's over near the window, but he doesn't have the health. John just climbs on in, makes quick work of Sensor there, as it's a good rebound round from Luminosity.
And again, good point there. Not only just kind of hopping off the bomb to make sure he doesn't feed an extra 100 points there. Smart stuff coming in from Sensor as LG tie things up once again.
Okay. So now you see Complexity talking about what went wrong. Thing with Search and Destroy is, you know, these rounds start up quick. You got to be able to have these conversations quick. No time for bickering, no time for arguing. Got to get everybody on the same page quickly.
Most definitely do. LG back on attack. John, he's going to pull out the sniper rifle now, watching that cross.
Ricky spotted him.
Sure did. Is Dashi going to challenge? He is. John has to back away. Slap, meanwhile, he may actually push up here to take the fight against Dashi. And Dashi's been neutralized for the most part. A lot of these rounds, he's been falling for first blood.
Yeah, and Slack now smokes himself out so he can get out of harm's way. You have John looking over you with the cover. Opportunity there for him to hit the jump shot. Just exploring his avenues, peeking the angles, blasts. Not sure if you want to challenge that. John gonna back on up as Luminosity reposition. Another kill comes in for LG. They're now in a great spot, and once again, you push on through towards the B bomb site. You have forward position to work with. Now you get the objective down. Post-plant positioning, win the round out from here.
Yeah, 4v2 would be surprising if LG threw this away, especially with Formal still at the back. Finds one, finds two. Nicely done from him, and must be said, as we see more of these maps from LG, it seems more and more like his confidence is slowly but surely coming back.
Yeah, look, if I'm LG, like, I'm probably screaming 12, 13 hours a day. You're just getting reps in, you know, getting Formula acclimated to your system and making sure that he feels comfortable playing this role. Obviously, you know, him and Octane are both AR players, but they do have their stylistic differences. So I know the system that LG had, you probably want to try to work Formula into that. It's going to take some time, and now it seems like maybe it's starting to come together a little bit.
8-6 is Formal on a 3 streak here as well. Not far behind at 7-3, a 3 streak for him also. Speaking of Formal, here's a look at his perspective as the nade actually connects Dashi with the first blood. Bomb being planted over towards A. Complexity, they're around to lose.
Yeah, this is actually the first bomb plant that Complexity do get in the game, so now we're going to see how they work in a post-plant positioning. You have Ricky playing towards this back truck, a very common spot, and John just shreds him. John's been a playmaker all map long for Luminosity.
Makes it the 3v3. Cap looking to put maybe a little bit of pressure on Note. Dashi's made a good play just getting out of the site. The problem is the kills are coming through. Sensor there to trade. John should instantly trade that back, so it's John and Slight with 20 seconds and a 2v1 against Dashi.
Dashi playing lower docks. He's going to climb on up. Do they hear him? Finds the first kill on the side. John is shooting at you. You don't have to commit to this fight. He drops down to lower docks. I think he's bought just enough time. John picks up the kill, but not enough time for him to get the defuse, which is actually going to be very important because you look at his score. If he gets that defuse, he gets streaks.
Dashi just bought enough time, and staying close to the jump as well made it that John just couldn't find that final bullet, and of course forced John to drop down, where ultimately no time to get that defuse. But on the bright side for Complexity, everyone now knows he is a kill away. They have seen his perspective. Curious to see if that changes anything in terms of potential try and pick John out. Actually, no snipe for him. Instead, it's going to be the AR. Blast mid-map as well. They do spot John, so they have some information on where he's playing.
First blood comes in. JCap falls, and keep in mind, they do give John the bomb here, so if he's able to get that objective down. Nice shot from Blast. His second kill of the game, and John now left all alone. He falls before hearing streaks. A crucial round here for Complexity is now the momentum could start to shift, and maybe this is something they could build off of.
And as soon as Blast, hits those nice shots, you can see that kind of a little bit of confidence comes back there when you see his perspective and his reaction as well. You need him playing well in Search and Destroy if you're Complexity. No streaks for LG. John just a whisker away from getting that first glide bomb, and Complexity is true back and forth. This Search and Destroy has been, find themselves at map point.
Yeah, and it's so important for Complexity. Like, I highlighted Luminosity's game mode stats, 2 and 7 in their Search and Destroys. This is where Complexity, almost like you should come in and just handle business, right? You were favored coming into the Search and Destroys. 2
players from LG head over towards A. They're going to realize the aggression's coming towards B, but John draws first blood with the nade. Cap just has to stay alive. Wait for his teammates to try and rotate towards him. He has John behind him. Formal, meanwhile, he's mid-map, going to be watching that cross. LG with the advantage, surely.
And that's bomb.
This one out.
Sensor falls on forward. He's got the bomb in his hands no longer. Now, where is Ricky? The bomb's over towards B. Maybe he's trying to plant for statue stairs, but
with 300 points, I think he was just saying, all right, if you guys get a plant, let me just play for one pick. Maybe I can get a little further towards progression. At this point, you're in a 1v4.
And I think Ricky is going to check this corner.
You'd hope so.
I don't think Ricky's going to check that corner. But yeah, now that you do say, I get the idea there from Ricky. I think Complexity wanted to get that bomb planted for Statue so that Ricky could play late game, hold angle.
The problem is there, though. If you force that 4v4 on the site, more than likely the trades go your way. And Ricky's probably saying, guys, what went wrong? I'm playing the ISO.
We all died. That's what went wrong.
All died very quickly. But that means we're going to round 11. Here in game 2, either LG will go 2-0 up in the series, or Complexity will tie things up. It's Complexity on the attack. B hasn't really worked out in their favor, but it looks as if they're going to go there once again. It seems like LG had a similar thought process to me. B hasn't gone their way. Stack A pretty heavily off the brick.
Rotation always open as well for Luminosity if they want to.
They have to plant. They have to plant instantly.
Well, they're going to push on forward. I think maybe if Dashy is able to get far enough towards the bus, and now the rotation is going to start for Luminosity. The smokes get deployed. And now you got to go. Sensor's going to jump on the bomb, and he's going to start planning. Dashy's watching his back.
One nade hit. Didn't connect. Dashy throws a nade. Blast first blood. Dashy in a world of pain. He's going to drop as does Blast. Sensor left in a 2v3, just trying to get away through the smoke. Has Ricky in support. Slack's going to challenge. He shuts down Ricky. It's Doug, Sensor, Martin for the 1v3.
Does 5-1. Takes down John. And now that's going to
hop off.
Yeah, he's going to hop off the defuse. Sensor's going to peek. Pre-fires around. He's got position to work with. Finds Formal. Can he win the engagement? Oh. Ammo running low. You thought for a second the opportunity was there for Sensor, but he can't convert on the clutch. And Luminosity, not 3-7 in their Search and Destroys.
Yeah, good clutch. I'm going to be completely honest. That was almost flashbacks of what happened yesterday in the round 11. You see Formal alive. This time, however, it was Slack that was with him. And you saw as soon as Formal got in that gunfight, Slack didn't waste any time. He was hitting Doug on the flank, wanted to get behind just to secure the kill. Obviously, time was of the essence. And, I'm sure there's some people out there saying, oh, why did Doug shoot when he turned the corner? He just gave away his position. He absolutely had to. He had to make sure that no one was defusing the bomb. Yes, it gives away his position, but he needed to be sure. As it stands, Complexity find themselves in a little bit of a hole here. 2-0 down to LG. We said it's a must-win for LG. They're now just one map away. It's CTF after this.
for this moment, and it's finally here. The Call of Duty World League Championship.
Pushing back, they can't let them contest. 239, 239, 3 goes down. They're taking it, and Kleist is roaring.
Attach comes back. Here's the gunfight. Attach is able to win it. That's how it's gonna end. That's how it's gonna end.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Call of Duty World League presented by the PlayStation 4. Current game on the main stage, it's Luminosity versus Complexity, and LG find themselves 2-0 up. A Hardpoint where Complexity, they had their advantages. The Search and Destroy goes to round 11. We almost see Sensor with a 1v3 clutch, a deja vu-like positioning from what we saw yesterday where LG lost in round 11. Now, however, we head over to a Flag Tower CTF, and already 3 players from Complexity fall. Dashi may have to go big in the first 20 seconds. He drops, luckily teammates off spawn there to find some kills. And in terms of this map, Brevin, statistically for both teams, how are we looking?
Complexity 0-1, Luminosity 3-1.
Okay.
And I will say that this is not how I saw this series panning out. I thought actually the map count would be reversed a bit. I thought it would be Complexity jumping out to the early lead and Luminosity fighting from behind, but it seems like the chemistry from Luminosity all of a sudden has been found.
And it's worth mentioning, what a time, right, to find that chemistry. They're sitting in 7th place in the standings. They needed, and I mean needed, a win to keep that playoff hopes and dreams alive, especially against Complexity, a team who is above them, of course. There's not that many teams below them currently.
Just tainted minds.
Yeah, just tainted minds, and they haven't won a series yet. But as it stands, Slacked looking to try and find one more. Not gonna happen. Flag is out, and it's in the hands of John.
For those who are watching my TCL play breakdown videos, whenever you're pulling a flag on Flag Tower CTF, it's important just to leave one lane open so that you know where the enemy team is going to spawn. If you wind up pushing down too many lanes, the spawns are going to get wonky, and it's going to be tough trying to check where the players spawn on. Here's the base, though. John, you could cap that.
Here's the key. You have Cap waiting on the other side to go for a relay. John just needs to win the gunfight. Took too long. Ricky
dived in.
Gets the return. That's going to be a stick. Formal finds one. Bear in mind, Cap, he tried to pull the flag. He was waiting so long for a relay. I'm sure he's going to be...
And they give Ricky the return as well. That's a great play from Complexity and a blunder from Luminosity.
If I'm Cap, I'm saying, why was that flag not capped 5-6 seconds earlier? He was there ready for the relay. That could have been a 2-0 game. Instead, Complexity, they get the first flag, and Ricky gets streaks. To your point, giving him the return gives him the extra points.
Yeah, potentially a greedy play coming out, John. Maybe he wanted to kill the score multiplier with the flag in hand, but now 3 fall for Complexity. John tries to make that pull happen, not going to work out. So now, see Luminosity spreading out the map, trying to find the second wave of kills, but coming up off respawn, Ricky has these streaks. Wouldn't necessarily be a bad time to use them.
Just waiting to see if Complexity can win the gunfights. Cap puts on a ton of pressure. 2 players go down. Sensor may have just got a little lucky timing. He's going to track back, and they'll find Cap. So no relay for LG, but the flag has gone. And to be honest, I don't think there's some point using the streak. I'm surprised to see it. They have 0 map control. Actually, no, correct me. I'm completely wrong. Dashi's there as well. So Dashi has to make a play.
Yeah, and actually it was John who was set up mid-map to watch the overextension. He gave it up, and that allows Dashi to at least put himself in a position to try and make something happen. And look, you're Luminosity, you get the flag cap, you burn a streak. That's a good sequence of events for you.
And you're also close to getting some streaks of your own here as well, both in Formal and also John. Both players streaking. There's the glide bomb for Formal. So tied game, and LG looking to have the streak advantage.
Okay, Formal pushing up towards the gun side of the map. Wow, I thought he had that shot. Ricky did that with a sub?
Ricky's nice.
Apparently. 9 and 7 right now. The lead slayer for his team. Blast continuing to struggle, so following up from his search and destroy. Rough series for him, as Luminosity could have been in a commanding position in this game, but things didn't turn in their favor. Ricky now the last one alive for Complexity. As he gets the touch on the flag, it should be the members of LG starting to turn around and maintaining this map control.
Very strange to see him touch that flag there. You would like to see him maybe just back away, get mid-map, and try and get another wave of kills for Complexity. It seems like the way they play CTF from what we've seen so far is they love that sneak cap, sneak pull, anything they can do. Just get an enemy or get a player behind enemy lines and just try and put pressure, force LG to turn around, or force their opponents to turn around. Sometimes it's better just to play your life, right? Play for the kills.
Look, there's a time and place for everything, and it's always situational, right? Every single mode, every single map comes down to just who is drilled more in these different situations. And you just, as a player, you have to recognize what's best for this current situation. Right there, yeah, Ricky should have just played his life. Yeah, all of his teammates were coming up off respawn. He's the only one with forward positioning. You just got to work with it.
Well, 40 seconds left of the first half. It's all square. 1-1 and LG. They're collapsing in on Complexity's base. All down to Ricky to go big defensively. Cap knows it, pulls the flag. John's gonna find another kill straight off spawn, rotates to the other side of the map. 2 players spawn there for Complexity. Blast may sneak through. John wanted to check his left. Now, does he realize that Blast has got through? Doesn't matter. Formals there. LG's CTF is just a pleasure to watch.
Yeah, it's been their best game mode by far here in Division B. Relay was set up, but not going to happen. And once again, just recapping what just happened when Luminosity got that flag. They leave the gun side lane open. They pull it over towards Boardwalk. You leave that spawn open for the other team to go there. And then now all you need to know is cut it off. Establish some control near the middle of the map. Have somebody play safety in the back of your base. Luminosity did it perfectly.
Complexity left the flag off the base there just to try and force that extra 60 seconds. They go for the return anyway. But this is bad news for Complexity here, Revan. I'm gonna be honest, you got streaks for LG. They have the lead as well. If you're Complexity, you need a couple of flag touches very quickly in the second half. Try and bait out some of those streaks.
Yeah, want to try to burn them, and it could have been a worse situation for Complexity had Luminosity capitalized on that first flag cap opportunity. John could have just dived it in. Maybe Ricky doesn't get his own counter cap, and maybe he doesn't get streaked out. So things could have turned out quite differently, but still, it's a lead for Luminosity as they're looking to close out this series 3-0. They just need to hold on to this lead for 5 more minutes.
And of course, Ricky still has that artillery barrage as well. Formal with a glide. So there is still that to kind of hope for if you're a Complexity fan, but we'll see how he decides to use it and when that time comes. Cap, of course, a glide bomb for him, so 2 streaks for LG, just the 1 for Complexity. It's like watching that right-hand side, nothing there just yet. Complexity trying to be aggressive off the bat.
Yeah, Luminosity, though, they're holding their ground. Bring out the STG. Formal can establish some map presence, map control, as well as 2 fall. That's the pressure all gone for Complexity, and now Sensor Dashy, they're left on the defensive end. It's Luminosity pushing on forward and advancing towards that Complexity flag. Slack coming around the big gun side of the map. He hasn't been spotted, shoots maybe a little bit prematurely, but finishes the kill. And now it's all down to Dashy as he falls. This is 100% a flag pull for Luminosity. And once again, they leave that gun side lane open. They pull the flag through wood. And now you're just getting the cutoffs from mid, and you have a safety player coming off spawn.
And that's the key, right? That safety player. It was Formal last time. This time it's going to be Slack. Sensor isn't going to be able to get any further. And I hate to put players on Blast, but Blast 7 and 16, he's had a...
I see what you did there.
He's had a poor series. The search, not the best performance. The Hardpoint was very meh. It just isn't good enough. He needs to step up.
Yeah, I agree. And you know, I've seen some tweets from players saying that he's been performing really well in 8s, but
great. That's 8s.
I thought it was starting to transition over, but this is a rough series against Luminosity for sure. But Complexity, they're putting pressure onto the LG flag, looking for that final kill, but no one's touched the flag just yet. And players now rotating back off respawn. Glide bomb gets called in, finds Blast. That was a great opportunity for Complexity, but they don't get anything from that. You just burn a glide bomb.
Sensor able to get at least 2, keeps the pressure on. Problem is, Formal's being aggressive himself, and we've seen him take over games of CTF several times, and on the flip side, an 18 and 12 performance from him. This was the worry for a lot of teams in this division. When LG click, when they start firing on all cylinders like we expect them to, they will be a force to be reckoned with.
And like I said before, we labeled this series as a must-win for Luminosity. You get to a certain point where if you dig yourself too deep in a hole, there's just no climbing out of it. But this is a good start to that, especially with Anaheim on the horizon. Things seem to be turning around for this LG squad, but 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining here. Still chances for Complexity, but you can clearly see that Luminosity are in firm control right now of this game.
Obviously, we keep mentioning digging yourself in a hole. We were working out earlier on in the day the magic number, right? You take a look at stage 1. 7 was a tiebreaker, 8 was comfort in terms of how many wins you need to get into stage 2 playoffs, or back in stage 1 playoffs. And if you say the same is true, LG lose this, they're at 2. I mean, they need to win 6 of 7 games when they return. That's just so many to consistently win. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, especially considering they play against Optic again, you play against Rise Nation again.
A Unilad again, who's in form.
Yeah, it's tough to consistently win against teams of that caliber, but here comes Complexity. They use the artillery barrage to deny that flag cap. They get the return as well. And now let's see if they could get some offense going of their own, but not checking the outskirts. Slack finds the kill and sends it from behind. Ricky's now going to get pinched on in, and you got John on the other side of the map. He's going to pull the flag. Full spot dash. He doesn't snap onto him just in time, but buying time off the clock, forcing him to give up map positioning, to rotate on back, and now all of a sudden, a minute 20 left on the clock. You have no more room to work with if you're Complexity.
If you're Complexity, you got to go. It's as simple as that. You have to win your gunfights, and you have to go. You really will need to string together some good wave of kills, but it's just not going to happen.
Oh.
John and Formal shut it down. 4 players from Complexity drop center first off spawn. And you see his intent straight off the bat. He knows, I have to get over to LG's side. Wins a gunfight, but instantly gets traded out. LG are just putting on so much pressure, it doesn't even matter.
It's just simple right now from Luminosity. Get kills and count players. Make sure nobody can sneak by, and if offense comes off the back of it, so be it. But for the time being, it's just slay, slay, slay. The only thing on their minds, it's going to be John putting this flag cap home and putting the game out of reach for Complexity. And Ben, I don't know what happened, man. Like, your Game 5 curse is...
It's gone, bro.
Gone?
2 3-0s. It's broken.
You excited about it? You upset about it?
I mean, you know, it means quicker days.
I legitimately thought that this was going the distance.
I honestly...
Complexity just didn't show up.
I really did as well, but to your point, Complexity, after they saw the vetoes, they were thrilled. They were really happy with the maps that came out. But LG, I guess they were bound to turn up at some point.
Yeah, and this is a great time to do it, as we've highlighted throughout this series. 5 seconds remaining. Not enough time for Complexity to force some extra stoppage time. And unfortunately, this is where their week ends. And it's a great ending to this week for Luminosity Gaming, as they find something to be happy about. Positive vibes all around as they shut out Complexity 3-0.
Not much overall, but to your point, a win to close things out. It's just going to make them feel a little bit better as they close out the week at, what, 3 and 4, I believe, will be their final standings. As they head into Anaheim, I feel like the good thing about this LG squad is the only way is up.
Yeah.
Right? They're only going to improve more and more and more. And there, of course, you see the smiles on the players' faces. They know that they've potentially just helped themselves massively in terms of trying to make it to stage 2 playoffs. I'm excited to watch them play at Anaheim. Very, very excited, actually, because I think that's when, I think, again, they'll improve. Cap gives you a nice little celebration there.
Yeah, considering the position they were in coming to the series, it's got to feel like some weight at least has been lifted off of their shoulder, and some pressure has been relieved. Obviously, there's still work to do for this Luminosity squad, but this was a good start.
Yeah, very, very good start. And then on the flip side for Complexity, I think they're going to be very disappointed.
Yeah.
Very disappointed indeed, because this is a LG that hasn't been on form. You're a very weakened LG. You've seen all these other teams come play LG, beat LG, and then you ultimately drop to them when it's a game. If you win, all of a sudden you're kind of back in that conversation of, yeah, maybe Cole can get to playoffs. Maybe they do have the ability. Whereas now, as the week kind of comes to an end, I don't know. I really don't know what to expect from this Complexity squad. You have poor performances from Blast too frequently. You see them kind of mess up on streaks too frequently in Hardpoint as well. Their search and destroy has been by no means comfortable. How many rounds 11s have they gone to and had to clutch up? It's a very, very strange Complexity squad.
Yeah, I will say the big thing for Complexity is you got to get Blastville acclimated, but there's still a bubble team. There's still hope for Complexity.
There most definitely is. Of course, there is still one final game to be played here this evening at the Call of Duty World League, and we'll be right back after this.
Another 3-0 going to be in the books, but we got one more coming up, and it is promising to be a very exciting match. But before we get to that, let's break down everything that happened in that last series. My name is Rich. I'm going to be your host. I'm joined by Chance and Nameless. Let's break it down, guys. Complexity versus Luminosity. Obviously, going into this one, we had some questions about how Luminosity would actually play, Chance, due to everything that's going on with that roster change.
And they were solid, but like the story for me wasn't like LG in that series. It was more of like a complexity thing in my opinion, because like the way the game started out, like the same Hardpoint, Ricky starts out 9-1, things are going great, they got a nice lead. I looked away for a second, looked back up, they're down by 50 points in LG streaks, and like I don't know what happened. Look at the scoreboard, and Blast is double negative. And like the way Complexity started out their entire 2 weeks in the Pro League, the first couple series, Blast was just getting fried, would be the pleasant way to say it. He was getting fried, and like Complexity wasn't doing great. Then when he started just going off, that's when Complexity started stringing together a couple wins. So I don't know if it's like a live by the Blast, die by the Blast situation, but early on, that kind of seems like he's the one that kind of dictates the success of the team.
Very, very interesting point to bring up as well, because I remember you were kind of talking, I guess it was Tuesday when we actually started things off for this week, saying, okay, look, we need Sensor to perform in a big way, and we saw him perform in a big way, and it didn't actually accomplish the goal.
Well, no. So he's just not going to perform in a big way. Like, it's Sensor, right? Like, maybe he'll have one game in the entire Pro League where he just puts up some, like, insane numbers, has that slaying game, but, like, that's not even the man's job. He's not there to get kills. He's there to play the objective. He's just, generally speaking, going to be negative. He's like at a 0.8 right now. He's not going to excel. So, I think the pressure is on Blast. I think if you have a teammate that you know going in is going to make, like, it's going to force you to be reliant on getting more kills. Like, I think the pressure is just on Blast in these situations, and that's not fair to Blast. I think he might get, like, undue criticism because of that, so I don't want to put it all on him. It just seems to be the trend for the team.
So let's say that this is really how this team is going to be balanced, right? That they put a lot of pressure onto Blast. If Blast doesn't necessarily have that insane game, they may not be able to come up with W's. Is that a potential winning recipe ever for a roster?
I mean, it's definitely not a winning recipe. And to what Chance said, I don't think all the pressure's on Blast to get like a bunch of kills. I think he just needs to step it up a bit and at least not be having like that bad of a performance. Like a 0.5 is something you literally can't win with. And when you have a player like Ricky and Sensor who aren't Slayers on your team, you got to step it up and kind of be that duo Slayer with Dashy, because Dashy has been phenomenal thus far in Stage 2. And when we saw Blast have, impacting the slaying category on that team, they were winning maps and they were stringing together enough maps to win series. So if he steps up a bit, they can definitely win some more series. But right there, that 0.5 was not going to do it, especially against a team like LG, who has all the slaying power in the world.
As we look at our schedule for the day and kind of get to glance back at the 3 matches that we saw leading into Optic Rise Nation, I want to wrap this one up, Chance. How does this 3-0 affect our standings right now before we even start talking about Optic versus Rise?
Well, everything is kind of like what you expected going into the day. Everything is kind of like in a similar spot, because so far, just 3 teams have taken care of business. It's LG should have been able, you'd think, going into this, to get that 3-0 win over Complexity. United absolutely should beat Tainted Minds, which they did. And then Unilat, not for how we came into it, but from what we've seen so far in the Pro League, they looked like they should be basically getting the 3-0, and they did. It was close games, but they took care of business, got the job done. So you go into that last series, Rise Nation versus Optic Gaming. It would be Rise Nation who should come out and win and take care of business. They're your returning champs. It's not going to be an easy road. Optic Gaming has looked filthy. I'm not saying that's, but the trend has been that Rise should get that win.
Speaking of trends, we have a little bit of a trendsetter on the desk right now. Nameless, you've done it again. You've done it again.
Always do.
He said another trend here, and we decided to ride that wave and ask all of you guys at home to jump in on the trend. On Twitter, we asked all of you, who are your top